Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to episode 215 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name is Barbara. What's happening?
What's happening?
Oh.
What's happening, Barbara?
Oh my God. I think we've spent too much time together today, but I had to say something a little quirky. So I'm good. How are you?
We have been doing the interviews today. We've done quite a few.
Busy little beaver.
We have been. What's going on with us?
I know. And they've been fun.
They have been some good ones. I'm looking forward to releasing them.
Me too.
So it dawned on me that there's something we haven't done in a while.
Uh-oh, yay.
And I think it's time, but we like to raise money for the Foundation for Dental Laboratory Technology by selling podcast t-shirts.
Woohoo!
Now, we've done this a few times, and every time we do it, after the sale ends, people always contact me because they still want to buy one. So, all right, everybody, here's the deal. These shirts will only be for sale for the month of May. I'm not sure the exact end date, but these are limited edition shirts. Now, the cool thing is we really went above and beyond this time, and we got artwork done by the famous Mackenzie Mayer of the Denture Babes. She does fantastic art featuring dentures and teeth and implants and just some cool stuff. If you follow her on Instagram, and everybody mentions her on Instagram, she does great art. So she did some really cool artwork because we made a shirt for the upcoming Race for the Future that's happening in August, and that's the triathlon that, Barb, you win every year.
Oh, yeah.
The art actually features a little implant abutment swimming.
Oh, that's cool.
A little tooth that's running.
Oh, that's nice.
And a set of dentures on a bike.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic.
It's super cool. She did a wonderful job. Big thanks to Mackenzie for doing the shirts. But remember, everybody, they're limited. You have to get them in the batch.
Head over to all of our social media sites, our website, or this episode's show notes to get a shirt before the sale ends at the end of May. So don't be one of those people that contacts my partner and says, "Can I get a shirt?" And remember, all of the money is given to the Foundation for Dental Laboratory Technology, going to continued growth of our industry. Get a shirt and then head over to the Race for the Future 8.0 website to participate in the race or cheer on the racers in the greatest spectacle in dental lab racing. And thank you so much, Mackenzie, for lending us your artistic talent. Super cool.
Yeah, great shirt, great cause, everybody.
Yipper.
Please order one or 6 or one for everybody in the lab.
Or order 4 and get them in 5 months, but that was just me.
That was a rare COVID occasion. Don't let Barb bring you down. I got mine right away.
I'm in it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, they're great. So this week, we're featuring 3 conversations that Barb and I got while attending the DLAT conference back in early April. Now, the DLAT, that stands for the Dental Laboratory Association of Texas. This great once-a-year meeting is one of the better state meetings that happen, and every year, it just gets better. This time, we talked to a ceramist that is actually the son of a removable technician, Wade Davenport.
I loved him.
Wade grew up as a 3rd-generation technician in his dad's lab in Austin, Texas. Now, Wade brings a lot of passion to learn more about life in the lab. He talks about working in the family dynamic, his loves for all things Vita, and basically him and Barb kind of nerd out on ceramic stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Luckily, I was working with Preet, and I could step away and just let them do their thing. And then we chat to the then president of the DLAT, Richard Wills. We talked to Richard years ago at the same meeting, but this time he comes on to talk about the shows the DLAT had during the shutdown, how many showed up for this meeting, and really how Texas is still getting labs to join the association. It's a great organization. And then we wrap up the episode with AJ Sheeks.
Oh, yeah.
AJ is a tax man. No, not the scary type of tax man that you hate because you owe him all your money. He's the type that can get your lab money back from taxes by just doing what you're already doing. AJ talks about the R&D credit, what a lab needs to do to get it, and what labs are better at getting it. So join us live from the Preet booth at the DLAT with Wade Davenport, Richard Wills, and AJ Sheets.
And now a special message from our good friend Norbert Ulmer from Grow 3X.
If you want to save and also grow, Grow 3X is where you should go. Resins to print night guards for high impact and flex. Look no further because we have them at Grow 3X. Burrs for your mills, zirconia for your crowns. With Grow 3X, you will be the hottest lab in town. And last but not least, if you seriously want to grow, at Grow 3X aligners, and your doctors will say, wow!
Be sure to check out all Grow 3X has to offer at grow3x.com. That's GRO3X.com. And as always, we appreciate your support of the podcast.
Thank you.
Voices from the bench. The interview.
It was funny to listen to you pronounce Heaslip.
Oh, Lord.
It is Heaslip. It's Heaslip.
Heaslip, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you say that, and I started contemplating what I was saying. I was like, is it Hislip or is it Heaslip? And
welcome to my life.
Yeah.
You know
my
what?
Life. My life.
I knew when I started this podcast. We're recording.
Oh, I know.
I knew
great.
when I started this podcast that names were going to be hard for me.
Oh,
I just embraced it.
That's an
Exactly.
understatement.
What else am I going to
of the year.
do?
And I'm the one that always listens to him every time we record, tries to pronounce them correctly. And I'm like, oh, God, he butchered that.
well, and
It's
even then,
funny,
it's like
though.
you
It
get
is
the
amusing.
fanatical word with it, and you still can't figure it out half the time.
It's not my fault people have weird last names, man.
I know, right?
But Wade Davenport does not have a weird last
No,
name.
it's
No, I do
easy,
not.
easy.
Boom. Davenport. What's the lab's name? It's not Davenport.
Allen's Dental Lab out of Austin, Texas.
Allen's.
So is that your dad's name?
Yes, ma'am.
Alan?
You know what? That's a great way to name a lab.
Oh, yeah.
Just your first name, Allen's.
Easy.
Easy peasy. So when did you get in?
I've been in for 2.5 years now.
Yeah, you look a little young.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. 24.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
That's when my son got into
So
it.
did you grow up in the lab?
Yes, third generation. My grandfather started the business. Old Army.
Was his name Allen?
No, his name was Horace Davenport.
Was the lab's name Horace before it was Allen?
I have no idea, honestly.
He's just full of questions this morning. Jesus.
Yeah, so my grandfather started the business, and we've been in Austin since my grandfather moved there, going from Arlington down there, and family's been in the area since then. And
So what year was that? Did it open originally?
in the 70s?
In the 70s?
Yeah, 70s into the 80s. My
Yep.
dad used to talk about going to some of the doctors that we still work with when he was 16.
Oh,
and,
sure.
And then they've known me since I was itty-bitty. My grandmother going in there, holding me and
Nice.
walking in. So I grew up in the lab scraping wax off the floor and cleaning up the model room and
Putting the dowel pins in the little patties and making
playing with
faces.
wax and burning myself on the
Oh, yeah.
Bunsen burner. I don't know how many times because I didn't want to learn.
Did you cast bugs?
No, we didn't do any waxing or casting. My grandfather was an old denture tech. And
So you're still removable only.
we've moved more into digital. Like I do zirconia milling and a lot of porcelain work and stuff like that. That's my wheelhouses. I know the milling systems. I know the zirconia. I know.
Yeah.
Gotten more into learning all the stain and glaze and everything. So that's where my focus has been since I got in. Because my dad's a removable guy originally,
Sure.
doing dentures and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, we need something a little bit different. I do this stuff on the side, but I like doing it, but I don't have time to sit there and do it, not when I can be doing all on fours. So it's like, okay, let's focus more on that. Let's have you go to the surgeries and make sure all of that's in line. And then he's like, I'll just QC the work once it's coming out, make sure shades are good, contours are right, everything like that. And
Yeah,
Is he a hard QCer for you?
of course.
oh, yeah. Well, of course. And
The look.
oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well,
My dad was too. God, he drove me crazy.
Well, I love that, though. I love that micromanagey, just like
Makes you better.
Now, some days when I'm sitting there and it's 8 o'clock and I have a crown due the next morning it's a custom shade, it's all wonky, it's like D2 here mixed with a little bit of A3 there, and it's just like, plus all the craze lines and everything. He goes, what the hell is this? And I'm just like,
you don't know.
I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm like,
a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
And he'll look at me and he'll just be like, how fried are your eyes right now? And I say, they've been fried for the past 4 hours, and I've just ground all this stuff off to redo it. Like, but
that's funny.
I still love it because those are the days where it pushes me to like get better. And some of the doctors we work with are very, very big on contours and making sure that line angles are right and how things are. So it's that driving that into you. It just makes you better. Like,
yeah.
Of course, being a young guy, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to fight, and it's my father, so I'm going to fight back all day long. But we always look at each other at the end of the day. He goes, so was it worth it? Was it worth you getting into it with me about this? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I've started learning that more and more.
Dad's always right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially having that much knowledge, and because he has my grandfather's old knowledge, plus the stuff he's learned, plus everything else, and it's just like, okay, I just need to listen, just need to focus on what he's telling me because it's right.
Is your grandfather still alive, if I don't know?
He is not. He passed away 2004, 2005.
Okay, so
it's still very young. So
yeah.
Is it just you two in the lab now?
It's me, my dad, my brother.
Oh, there's a whole sort of family fighting going on.
Oh, yeah, and then my mom runs all of the
it is
the books and stuff like that on the side. So
that's really smart, though. Keep it all tight.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just been like that for so long, and we've always run it as a family-owned business and everything, and we enjoy it so much.
Yeah,
that's the best part about it is we are able to fight, but then it's like, okay, it's Friday, it's happy hour. We yelled and screamed at each other all week. Let's go have a drink. Let's go have some food. Let's relax. That's
cool.
Let's get back to where we need to go because we don't want to ruin that relationship. And being the way we are, it's just like we need.
Well, and your life's always around the lab. Even when you're out, my mom used to hate it because we always talked about the lab.
Oh, yeah.
And it never was, like, not in the conversation somehow. And so it's good to find that balance where you go out, you chill out a little bit because, it does get very contentious some days. I know.
It really can. And my mom hates it because me and my dad will sit there and talk business all day.
Yeah.
My brother doesn't like it as much. Me and my dad will sit there and talk about materials.
Yep.
He'll be like, oh, did you see this came out? Did you see this came out? Oh, people are having issues with this. Have you seen that so far? Like, no, not really. And we'll just sit there and bounce these ideas off. Like, here we are at dinner on my mom's birthday.
Oh, and she's like, would you stop talking about dental, please?
She's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm done. She's like, let's just move on. We're like, okay, fine. We're done. Let's stop for now. And
so you said you've only been in it, 2.5 years. So
yes, ma'am.
When did you decide that you wanted to do it? Or were you made like I was? Just asking.
I don't know. It was weird because I'd been working in restaurants. I did a lot of high-end restaurant stuff, so a lot of caterings, high-end parties, country clubs, stuff like that. And one day I was just like, so what would you think about me joining the business? My mom was against it from the beginning.
So it was
at first.
Your brainchild.
Yeah, it was mine. My dad wasn't going to push me into it. And that was the one thing that he always said, I'm not going to push you into doing something you truly don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm interested in it. I want to see kind of how it is. So I would come in on my days off and sit there and we'd look at things and he'd teach me a few things. He'd be like, oh, that's cool. And I understood it because I'd been around it, but there's still like some of the newer stuff where it's like, oh, okay, I'm starting to really connect the dots on some of it. And it just clicked for me. And I got into the porcelain room and started just messing around. And I did ceramics all through high school, so I understood glazing and how much you're putting on there can impact it, how your colors can change.
That's cool. I've never heard that. As long as we've done this podcast, somebody to say that they had a class like that in high school.
Well, it was all pottery. It was all pottery and like sculptures and stuff like that, but we're still putting glazes on.
We did that
on
as
clay.
Kids. Yeah.
And so you learn, because I did it for 4 years in high school, so I learned how to actually like put this stuff together and do these cool, crazy, weird things because I'd stay there after school or hang out there at lunch or whatever and learn all these different things.
So you just loved it.
I just loved it. And then I started getting into the porcelain room. I was like, oh, it's the same thing. It's just on a very, very, very small scale. And I took off to it.
Did you go into any classes or watch any videos? Or,
So the first official class I took was with Bart at Dentsply in Charlotte. And that's where I met Brian and Christina.
Yep.
And that was the first introduction I had, which that was an advanced level course. That was the first. I had no idea what I was doing. But they were just like, have fun with it. Just learn things.
Just kind of gave you a little nudge and said, go for it.
Yeah, because my dad was there also, and then Bart was like, no, just kind of have fun. Just look at things. He taught me a few different little techniques, and then Brian was kind of throwing in there some stuff also, and both of them was just like, oh, cool. And then through that, it just kind of grew and expanded, and now I do everything from zirconia, all on fours, to...
That's a lot in 2 years.
Doing full roundhouse, veneers, full custom shades.
What'd you do, like get out a contour book and study line angles and anatomy?
That, and I spend a lot of chair time.
Yeah.
I sit there patients because I'm also a registered dental assistant at the same time. So I'll go chair side and I'll sit there with patients and kind of figure things out, especially when we're doing big veneer cases. Like, that's a big one, especially in Austin. Austin is a booming veneer market. So we'll sit there, like, sometimes you sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours with a patient.
Yeah. Discussing all the nuances of what they want and what they don't want, and pictures of what they look like 25 years ago. Yeah, I've been there.
Well, and we'll sit there and do a diagnostic wax-up in front of them, too. That's where I learned the line angles, was from doing diagnostic wax-ups. Yep. So I learned how to do that. So I'm sitting there and I'll be like, okay, like carving little things in front of, like, patients, or even in front of doctors where they're like, oh, I kind of want this, I kind of want this. So it's like, oh, okay. And you kind of see how their hand's moving and how they like things, and then from there it just grows.
Yeah.
So you start seeing and noticing different things. Like, I've got some doctors that are just plain Jane. They'll call me and say, what the heck did you do on this? It's got some funky, crazy stuff in it. I don't want it. Let's redo it. And I'm like, all right.
Some of them don't even want them layered anymore. They want to see maybe a little bit of a halo. I mean, I do a lot of MTBL2s, and they don't like that translucency look, and I'm happy to not do it for them. It's faster.
Well, it's like we do a lot of darker shades. So A3 is the most common shade I get every single time. But it's nice because I use a lot of the Vita stuff. So I do a base layer, build some mamelons and Vita A3, throw some medium enamel across it.
Yep.
Contour it, glaze it, done, out the door.
Yep.
As long as I have that, most of the time it's pretty good. Yeah. When we're doing bridges or like multiple interior crowns, it's fine. But
are you talking PFMs, or are you talking like zirconia?
Zirconia.
Or zirconia facials?
So both? I'm veneering on the facials of zirconia. So
okay.
Yeah, a lot of that we use Origin B&D. Brian got us on that.
I've never tried that.
It's beautiful.
Like
It's beautiful stuff. We mill pretty much only exclusively Origin B&D.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing. Like for posteriors, once it comes out of the oven, I'll adjust contact, take a couple different burrs to it, adjust my occlusion, use like a fan burr, go around the entire thing, and get like all of those like little pits and pockets off of it. Hit it with the speed polish. Beautiful stuff. Like it astonishes me sometimes how pretty it looks, and the translucency is amazing.
And you get to see it in the mouth.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't have that opaque. Sometimes they have that opaque dead look, and sometimes they look super vital. It sounds like that material is super vital.
It does very well, and that's one thing we've found about it is, as far as like especially doing anteriors, because you think you got it right, but then next thing you know, you need to make it more towards an A4 when the shade you took is like a 2.5, A3.
Yep.
So it's like, all right.
Damn it, man.
Those are always the fun cases, though. I enjoy it. Most of the time we get to know the patients because since me being so young, I have to redo it 2 or 3 times. But luckily, and I've been so thankful for this, some of the doctors we work with have just worked with me through it. They're like, you know what, you're doing your best. We know you're devoting your time. You're taking time away from the bench to come in here.
That is the number one, in my experience, most beneficial thing as a ceramist is to get in the mouth and take a look at how everything relates to actual real teeth.
Oh, 100%.
And it's just that learning, you can't replace that. And they probably recognize that you're going to be doing this for 30-plus years. And so get you trained and get you trained well, and you'll be their ceramist forever.
That's the end goal, and eventually I'll take over the family business and everything like that. And
is that the goal?
Yeah, that's the goal. I want to.
Elvis is back.
Yeah, I came in and you guys were talking ceramics, so I just kept my mouth shut.
No, that's the goal, is to end up doing that. And I love doing ceramics. I'll sit there in the porcelain room if I don't have anything better to do and just sit there and play with random things, because that's where you learn. Is
best
just
way to learn. Yeah.
Sitting there and tinkering, and because I'll have that mechanical plus that artistic mindset, so I can bounce back and forth and think, oh, will this work? Will this work? No, this didn't work last time. Maybe if I try this. So it's just like
pretty cool.
I have the time to do that. I've been so thankful for that. A lot of ceramists starting out don't have the time to sit there and play with things. It's you stick your nose down and you stay there the entire day. You get up and you have your 5-minute bathroom break here.
That was my son. I swear to God, he never moved. Not that I forced him to not move.
A lot of labs don't allow the technicians to use up porcelain if it's not for a case. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It allows you to play with it. I've heard that a few times, that they wish they had that ability.
Oh, I love being able to sit there and play with it. Because that's how you...
I hope all our listeners know where my mind's at right now.
Oh, my gosh.
The look Barb gave me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, my God.
All right, move on.
No, but it's the truth. You actually learn your materials. You can do it so much better.
Yeah.
What do you use on Emacs? So do you use Emacs?
No, ma'am, we don't do
zirconia.
Veneers. So when we do veneers, we use Vita Mark IIs.
Wow.
Love it. Full feldspathic.
So you're a Vita lab, pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
I use Vita ovens, Vita porcelain.
Feldspathic?
Yep.
What? Oh my God.
It's
that's
beautiful.
So yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's how I started.
It's a pain in the butt. Luckily, this milled feldspathic is so easy to work with. I love it. Yeah.
Does it come in block or puck?
It's a block.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Mill it on an MCXL wet.
Yeah.
It's similar to Emacs how you mill it, but I like it because it has such a better translucency because it's feldspathic. Emacs is.
Yeah.
It's Emacs.
Yep.
Emacs is Emacs no matter how you put it, but that Vita feldspathic Mark IIs are beautiful.
So all of our Vita listeners, y'all, got to try it. I remember when we had to do foil, and then we did refractory, and we'd have to build the margins and soak it in water and use a vacuum to suck it all out. Oh, my God, that was a pain in the ass.
No, I just hit a button after I put it in the MCXL, and it just goes.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it.
Do you like designing?
I do. My brother mainly does quite a bit of the design work. I started doing design, so my dad was like, you have to know what a tooth looks like in the mouth. You also need to know what it looks like on the computer and be able to design, because I'll still design some of my anterior stuff when, like, my brother's a little stumped. He's like, because he's been doing it for about a year. So he's like, you know what, I'm a little stumped right now.
Yeah.
How much do we need on cutback? How do you like it to do this, do that? And I'm like, okay, so I like this. You don't have to worry about putting this in there because I'll do that in the green state.
Yep.
Because I don't mind sitting there fine-tuning it in the green state. I have time.
It's easy.
Easier. It really is.
Yeah.
And, using the Wagner green state contouring system, it's just so
yeah.
It's so easy. Like, it's to the point now where I'll, posteriors, just get the sprues off of there, color them, because we still, I know a lot of labs don't do this, but we still color zirconia crowns.
We talked to somebody last week that's still doing it. So,
And
I think
Brian's
there's a fair
big on
amount
it.
of us out there, yeah.
Yeah, Brian's big on it, and I was like, okay, I love it because I can do some crazy shades.
Mm-hmm.
So Origin makes their liquids and stuff, so I'll mill it in the Origin Clear Beyond Hybrid. I'll take that and then dip it or paint over it or anything like that, and you can get a shade you can't get out of a normal puck. I can get a 5M2. I just had a 5M2 anterior go in the mouth.
Wow.
Which is dark.
I know. I've got the Mio, and I've got a conversion chart on how to get that. Mix a little of this, mix a little of this.
It makes it easy also because Vita has their colored porcelains for it.
Yeah.
And the new Lumex is amazing. It doesn't fire. Did you ever play around with like VM9? Mm-hmm. VM9 fires like really, really high. I had issues with it opaquing modern zirconia because it was made for like a 3Y.
Yep.
When we're milling 4Y now, sometimes it's like 4 and 5, so it opaques it out after your third go, because when you're going up to 900 degrees Celsius, what do you think?
You're nuking it.
Yeah, you're really nuking it. You're almost taking it to regular centering temperature. You're taking it above half.
Yeah.
So it's like that got put into perspective, and I was like, okay, I need to start using different stuff. So I played around with some of the Dentsply Celtra stuff. I still like Celtra. I use their gum kit sometimes. Their pink is absolutely beautiful, especially when you have doctors that are old Dentsply people that they use the Dentsply shade guide, the gum shade guide.
And they're never going to switch.
They're never going to switch, but it works for them, and that's what they like. And at the end of the day, most of those Dentsply gum tissue colors are in that acrylic that they had, that $199 is one of the best
all
acrylics
ever
made. I remember my dad is still throwing a fit about how he can't get it, but he switched over to HIPAA now, but HIPAA's still beautiful. It's still a pretty...
I don't know any of that, so I'm not a removable tech, but I do know the first.
Yeah.
I walked into HIPAA.
I know.
Isn't that the...
no, not the HIPAA you're thinking.
No, it's an
HIPAA.
acrylic.
Yeah.
Oh. They named it after the organization that protects patients' rights?
Hey, ask Dentsply. That's the only thing you need. Ask Dentsply.
Yeah. It's almost as bad when Atlantis had the bars that were called ISIS.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
So how about the meeting? How many years have you been coming to this meeting?
This is my second year in a row.
It's our second?
It's our second, but we had 2 years off.
Yeah, because
I know y'all weren't here last year. Last year was really small, and that was the first time here.
We were live but not live?
We were live but not live.
Yeah, and
you love it?
I like it.
Awesome.
It's not a bad drive up from Austin, and of course we're able to make it up to Chicago this year. Yeah. So
have you been to Chicago?
I have not. That's
because this times, what do you think, 20?
Easily, yeah.
And it's the tabletop clinics. I was disappointed when Peter Pizzi wasn't able to be here because I was like, I've been wanting to take his courses for ever since I got into Lumex. How he does things is just amazing, and of course, being a Vita guy, it's just like it fits in so well to the wheelhouse, and you're able to get that workflow down.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, he just missed his flight, or his flight got canceled.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I was disappointed because Drew, the Vita booth, was like, oh yeah, he was gonna even be doing some tabletop clinics. I brought the oven out and everything. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. Peter's a good guy.
Now I'm really pissed.
I was like, I sent my dad a text and I was like, Peter Pizzi isn't here. He goes, so the one reason you really came up there, he's not there. And I was like, you're right, but oh well.
Yeah,
you're right, but I'm not going to tell you you're right. But you can hear it on the podcast.
Exactly.
This is how I really talk about you, Dad.
Oh no.
Which it was all good. I'm just teasing.
Oh yeah. I want to go to Chicago though. That's like the next step because
you have to. There's nothing
I
like it.
love seeing getting my hands on something because it's like you can look at brochures, you can watch. I don't know how many Zoom.
It's not the same
classes, quote unquote. If you actually want to call them a class, it's like an hour and a half, and half the time you can't hear what's going on or it's blurry or whatever. I'm tired of it. I want to sit down. I want to get my hands on a material.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to get and actually discuss about the material. And that's what I loved last year. I sat down with Daniel at the ADITE booth. I don't know if y'all have met Daniel.
I have.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Daniel sat there for hours and just talked. And it was amazing because, he understands zirconia so well. Mm-hmm. So he was able to, put some of this stuff in perspective to me. And I was like, whoa, okay, because I've always...
Ding, ding, ding.
It all makes sense now because he's a genius. He's very, very, very smart. Of course, he's been working in the R&D department as far as zirconia and materials go for so long. But, yeah, that was wonderful to see.
Half the fun of these meetings is nerd talk.
It really is, which is what I like to do. It kind of confuses some of the doctors because I'll talk about it. I'll have one of the doctors that actually allowed me to start doing his ceramic stuff. Now I'll talk about stuff, and he goes, no.
You got to dumb it down.
He's like, I don't care. He's like, do what you've been doing, and it worked. Because I started doing those zirconia all-on-4s for him, and I think I have 3, full over fulls. So
out on the street.
Yeah, out on the street. So
clicking away every time they talk.
They actually don't click that much. I don't know if you've ever heard them in the mouth, because I did one for a big burly guy, construction worker, and I'm talking huge teeth. He's sitting there, sounds just normal. He said there was no extra vibration.
Interesting.
Well, of course, we do a slide over, so zirconia over a bar.
Yeah. So it takes a little bit of that.
It takes a little bit of that off of it, which is nice. And of course, being a Nobel lab also and using Procera and everything, we get that support we need.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice.
I know you're with Preet, but
it's all good. No, it's all good. It's all good.
He's with the podcast right now. For 1 minute, anyways.
The podcast is
for right now
non-biased.
Yes, we are non-biased.
Until we start talking about ceramics again, and he's going to be like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, Elvis out. Elvis has left the building.
So when you take over the lab, is it going to become Wade's?
I have no idea. I haven't thought that.
That's a great question.
I need to take my CDT and pass that first, and then we'll go from. I need to get a couple years, 3, 4, 5 years more down the road, get that CDT going, because I'm curious to see also how the CDT test is going to go within the next couple years with a lot of the more milling stuff coming out. And
well, actually, I'm on the NBC board.
Oh, cool.
And we just revised a lot of the questions a couple weeks ago and updating and getting rid of, the non-relevant.
What's
the word?
Relevant.
No, it's not that word.
It's not relevant.
Relevant.
Yeah.
The non-relevant questions. God, I hope you edit that out.
Just for saying that, I won't.
Yeah, really updating.
We were all stumped on that one for a moment there.
It's like, where is my brain? So I did get up at 4 a.m., just saying.
Yeah.
To get here. So happy to be here. So what else is in store for you guys? Anything new?
Just growth right now. We got our own space, moved out. We were in a prosthodontist office, and we started growing.
That's fun.
Well, the prost that we were with was one of the original guys that implemented veneers into the Army's prost program back in the 60s.
That's
cool.
He did a lot of veneers.
He did lots and lots of veneers, and he was the one that was he did a lot of Vita Mark IIs. He'd been working with Vita since school.
You would think that an Army prosthodontist who did veneers would be against milling veneers.
He's a nerd, so
he updated his brain.
He also had a master's in nuclear engineering. From MIT.
Yeah, so he's got a little intelligence.
He
probably would have known that word we needed to know.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Relevant.
And we just had a lot of growth, and 3 people in a small prosthodontist office doesn't go very well.
Needed more room.
Exactly, and we're struggling a lot as far as production goes. Now we're working half the amount of hours, and we're doing double the work.
Nice.
Yeah. So
the American dream.
It's amazing, but we're still we have all this time. Why not fill it with more work? So we're out especially with Nobel, getting stuff for all-on-4s going, and we get extra side work through that, because especially doing a lot of implant bridges and stuff like that, because some labs, they don't like to really mess with implant stuff. They'll have the regular lab. I love implants.
I hate implants.
I love implants.
Both of y'all. Sorry.
I love them. It makes it easy on me.
Yeah.
It makes it super easy on me. I don't have to sit there and ditch a model and try to find a margin, because it's a Thursday afternoon and the doctor wants to get down to his house on the coast, and he's not. He's got the drink in mind. He doesn't have work in mind. He's got the drink in mind, because he's going to make his wife drive down there so he can
chill.
He can chill and relax to be able to enjoy the week. But you get a couple messed up margins, I don't have to worry about that. If we do a custom abutment and the margin's not 100% perfect, if we have to refine it a little bit,
hit it with a burr.
Yeah,
All right.
Clean it up.
I see your point, but I still don't like them.
As long as the impression's good, as long as you go through how to make sure that the doctor's taking the impression right, they know their materials, they're not going to stretch that impression, anything like that.
They use the right parts.
They use exactly that, and that's just sitting down with them and working. Like, that's the nice thing. Being such a small lab, we're in these offices every day.
That's awesome. So
And
you're going chairside.
I'll go chairside, not
Nice.
as much now, but I was for a while. I'm still getting back into it. My dad mainly goes chairside for a lot of things. And,
Sure.
But it's nice being able to, like, see things and see the workflow and understand what a doctor's doing, because there's that mentality of, oh, what the heck did they do here? Why did they do this? And then they're sitting there the same time wondering why. There was one little thing that got messed up communication-wise, and it's the same thing versus you want to take a closed tray impression or an open tray impression. It all depends. If you're doing multiple and you're going across like a certain thing, sometimes it might be a little bit better to
I agree.
to take an open tray versus
Yep.
a closed, and then it's just talking with them through that process. So that's one thing that we've really, really learned.
That's awesome.
Just by working chairside.
Communication. Yep.
Exactly. Working chairside is the best way to do it. If you have the opportunity, you can learn so much more as a technician if you're able to sit there with the patient. Because other than that, when you have a script come across your bench and it's just like, oh, number this is what we're doing. There's no emotion to it. And that's one thing
Connection.
I love
So do I.
about going and doing like custom shades and stuff, because I'll have like the patient ask, so if we want to, like, later down the road, say this one starts going bad here because we're replacing a lot of those Impress and Emax crowns or veneers that were in there, so they're re-prepping some of those back, and they're like, can you kind of make it look like that, but make it look a little bit like more translucent? Can you do this? Yeah. What do you want? What do you see?
They're more involved when you meet them.
Exactly.
It's
and it's
really
like
great.
The bigger guy that I made the full over full for, his original teeth had about a 4mm gap between them. So we designed it where he had that 4mm gap. I'm telling you, it looks exactly like his.
He wanted to keep the 4mm gap?
He did, because that's his signature style. If that makes sense. That's what he was known for. Big burly guy. He's got
Lauren Hutton.
He's got the big burly teeth. He was I want to have my signature style. Hey, man, and it's like, hey, you want that? Why
not?
You got it.
Yeah. you got it. If it's one of those things, if you want me to paint a heart in there, I can paint a heart in your two front teeth if you want me to. I mean.
I just put a damn diamond in a cuspid. That she wanted to stick it out, and the diamond was almost as big as the cuspid, I swear to God. It was so tacky, but she loved it.
I haven't had anything like that come into the lab
I've never
yet,
done anything like that in my career, and it was Emax with this. Not gold, but Emax.
Because I know
crazy.
I'd seen a lot of those done in like the past where they were like cast in gold and maybe like veneer a little porcelain across the face. Do a
initial.
do a PFM with it, and then they could set a diamond in because you can cast that spot in there. But doing that in Emax doesn't sound like the most fun ever.
I milled the wax, then seeded the diamond, then pressed it, and then she bonded it in place. Yeah, it was fun.
That's crazy.
It was hard, but thank you for coming talking with us.
Yeah, it's been great.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's been absolutely wonderful. I've been listening to y'all's podcast for probably about the last year or so.
Well, that's good because we've gotten better, I think.
We were good a year ago, too.
I was talking about the first one or two, but yeah,
I don't think I've heard those. Now that you mention it, I'll go back and I'll listen to those. And
we had questions.
We talked like this.
Yes. Our personality's finally flourishing.
Oh, it's just like you have to find that balance. It's just like knowing like where you can talk. It also depends on who sits down with you.
Of course.
Very, very true.
And it is really cool being face-to-face, though.
Oh, yeah.
You can see eyes and energy and, hand talking.
And even though there's a bunch of stuff going on here at the conference, it's like we can still have this little space to just talk and just hang out, which is wonderful. Love it.
I really thank you for coming by and tell
appreciate
your folks
it, Wade.
We said hello and
I
make
will
sure
for
they
sure.
listen to this.
Tell your dad to say hi.
Tell your dad to pay you more.
I've been talking to him right now because I'm like, hey, Jill over at NOAC is like, hey, do you need this? Do you need this? And I'm like, talking to him back and forth, and he's like, okay, I got to ask the boss. So it's like.
Is the boss your mom or your
yes,
dad?
ma'am. She wouldn't let him handle that stuff.
Not Dad.
I wouldn't even let myself handle some of that stuff. But
funny.
no, it's.
Straight up mama.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Cool.
Cool, Wade. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the rest
amazing.
of the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And your name's easy, too, for Elvis. I'm just going to start with
we
that.
have the DALTL Presidente, Richard Wills. How are you, sir?
Yeehaw, I'm good.
The most Texas greeting of all.
Yes, and this is your meeting. How's it going? This is your year, your meeting?
This is exciting. It's been a lot of hard work and a new venue. And it's actually turned out really well.
So let's talk about this. You guys had the meeting last year during the pandemic.
We had 2 during the pandemic with nobody else putting them on.
Yeah. So you did it in
October.
It wasn't March March of 2020 was canceled.
March of 2020 was canceled 5 days before we were supposed to be here.
Yep. Still have my flight credit from that. And then you did it that fall.
We did it in October.
That's right. It was October.
And
okay. And then again.
We actually had 27 or 8 vendors.
In October.
That's cool.
With over 100 people showing up.
Yeah.
Wow.
With everything set up to be COVID.
Yep.
6 feet apart and whatnot.
Everybody wore a
we
hazmat
were live
suit.
but not live. So
but not live.
everybody was jazzed. I can tell you that. It was a great positive energy. Everybody was super happy to be at a meeting.
And then you had it again in 2021.
We turned around in March of 21. We did
October
it
to March.
That's the only 2 in the country during that time frame.
Yeah.
Bad Texans.
We just wanted to prove that it was safe for us crazy lab techs that have smelt and inhaled and had all kinds of chemicals soaked into us that you can't keep us down.
We're all full of minerals in our lungs that shouldn't be there. So what about this year's show? What are we looking at? Are we looking at 200 people?
As of yesterday morning, we had over 200 registered.
Nice.
And we've had quite a few today.
Yep.
Come through the registration and register that were not registered before.
There's a lot of people here.
And there will be more tomorrow. Saturday is always bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, makes sense because everyone's working. Yeah.
So, and of course, we've kind of opened it up where everything that happens in the main lecture hall is live streamed.
Yep.
So you can go to other classes, get your credit, and because you paid for registration, you get to go home and watch the live stream so you don't get to miss it.
So you don't miss anything.
And you get those credits as well.
Sweet.
Nice. So you can really rack up a lot of credits at this thing.
Yeah, I think there's 35 or 6 credits available this weekend.
Wow. That's a good weekend.
So try to make it good for everybody.
Yeah, why the venue change? Because it was been at the Hilton for a long time.
The venue changed due to money.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
It was an okay facility, but everybody hated the one elevator.
Yeah, there's always that one elevator.
2 people would fit in it. It hardly worked.
Yeah.
And otherwise it was steep steps that people kept falling down. So they had the room, it just...
Yeah.
Plus, they were expensive.
Yeah.
You know, we won't get into that, but it probably cost us a third of the price here.
Wow. This is a nice venue, too.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great area.
I believe we had the conference here in 2000.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
But they've renovated, and it's a nice facility. They really worked with us, and we sold out the hotel. There wasn't a room available.
Yeah, this place is packed.
So, of course, we've got the OR... the ortho
people. It's the
ortho.
ortho. Yeah, I ran into somebody getting some coffee.
That's their national organization. Yeah. They've partnered with us, and this is their conference every year here.
Yeah.
So they're downstairs meeting, and they can come to our courses and get credit, and we can go to theirs.
And I find that interesting because a lot of labs don't know much about ortho or, traditional labs. And I think it's good that they do because it comes into regular labs all the time.
I have a lab that's full service.
Okay.
And I have a young lady that sits and makes retainers all day.
Really?
So we don't differentiate.
Yeah. I mean, but you do full service.
Right.
Most labs that say full service don't touch ortho.
Well.
Yeah, you're right, because we're full service and we don't do ortho.
I don't
agree.
do custom abutments or metal bars. I cast metal frames.
Yep.
Crowns, everything but custom abutments and
So
metal
you're still
bars.
casting at your lab?
I'm printing an RPD frame with a 3D printer and then burning it out and casting.
Nice.
It makes sense. I got the printer. Why not make it work?
Yeah.
So,
how large is your lab?
There's 4 of us.
Oh, nice.
So,
and you own it, right? You're the owner?
Yes.
Been doing this your whole life?
34 years.
Damn.
I went in the Air Force in '88 to be a mechanic, and they put me in dental lab school. And
here you are.
This dumb redneck of a farm boy learned how to make teeth, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yep.
So,
nice. How long have you been with the DLAT?
Probably just as
22 years ago was my first meeting here that I came and became a member. I've been on the board 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
So,
and you've enjoyed that journey?
It's been fun. It's been very educational. I've met a lot of really good people.
Yeah. You almost get more than what you give.
Oh, heck yeah.
I got involved. I think everybody needs to get involved.
Yeah.
I got involved because I kept talking to people, why aren't y'all doing this? Why aren't you giving these classes? Because at one point it was all Crown and Bridge classes. Mm-hmm. And I was in a removable lab.
Yeah.
So what's benefiting me to come to the show?
Yeah.
And the lady told me, well, if you don't like what you see, get involved and help change it.
Make a difference.
I've heard that. I think that's a great response.
How do you get involved?
Yep.
Start volunteering to be a class captain or work in a registration booth or be on a committee.
Get on the board.
Every board has a committee. There's lots of committees that we have that the bylaws state has to be at least 3 people, and only one of them can be a board member.
So you got to find non-board member people to be involved.
Who do you fill those? Those people wanting to be involved.
Yeah.
And I think we've done some wonderful things. Growth is a good thing, and we've seen growth in a downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're still getting labs on board joining the.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We probably, in the last 2 weeks, have probably had at least 10 or 12 new labs placed, get their membership.
That's cool.
We went from about 2 years ago, we had right at 500 members.
Yeah.
And right now we're at like almost 670.
Nice.
What do you think makes the Texas Association so successful? What's that secret ingredient? Because, you hear about a lot of them, not having successful meetings and or, they're going under or memberships are down. Yeah. But yours are up. What's your secret?
Well, we've had lots of discussions about it, looked at it from every way. I spent a lot of time the last couple of years going to other meetings. Fun in the Sun, Chicago, Lab Day East, just
getting out there
and seeing. I was supposed to go to Florida during COVID when they put their show on, and I ended up not going because they didn't have time. The board was busy and didn't have time to meet with me.
Yeah.
Which I get that. I'm on the board here, and my time is very precious.
Yeah.
So I ended up not going out there. It just, with everything else going on, it just didn't make sense.
Sure.
But learning and observing how other people do it, and I see a lot of other organizations have a group of people that's all they do is put on the conference, and those people get paid.
Yeah, they have an organization that helps put it on, sure.
Our conference is put on by our board. Yes, it takes more time than we should be putting into it, but we're all volunteers.
Yeah.
Keeps costs down a lot,
I
imagine.
It keeps our cost way down. And things like moving the venue. Okay, you got a nice hotel, but what's it costing?
Yeah.
If it's costing you $47 for a box lunch to feed everybody,
yeah,
and we paid $43 for the buffet here.
Better quality.
That was a nice buffet,
yeah, it was. It was really good.
I was going to say, out of all the hotel buffets, that was a good one.
Well, I'm glad y'all liked it.
Yeah, I hope it stays at this venue for a while.
We're getting feedback from everybody. That's
sure.
That's an important thing, too.
You listen.
We've had a lot of in the past, well, here's what you got. Well, several of us, Matthew Douglas, that was the president up until last year, we spent, and with Jason, we spent the last 3 years visiting with vendors. People out are in class and we're visiting with vendors. What do you like? What do you not like? What can we do that's better? We listen.
Yes.
And then we also listen to the attendees. What do y'all want to see? Where my issue when I got on was I didn't see any classes that benefited me.
Yeah.
Well, no one asked my opinion. When I give it, they're like, well, get involved if you want to change. Well, we're telling everybody, tell us what you want so we can fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're growing. We're actually listening.
It's huge.
And because you're listening, you're bringing in speakers that people want. Therefore, they're coming to the meeting. It's like
our speaker
sense.
list was full, and Jason actually had to turn away a couple because we didn't have a slot for them to speak in. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
There's been many years with empty classrooms.
Yeah.
Not because there wasn't people, but no speaker.
On the subjects that people are asking about.
Yes.
That's the key. You could find someone to speak, but if they're not talking about anybody wants to hear, I mean, what's the
I
point?
remember 15 years ago, every class you went into was a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to hear that, honestly?
It's continuing.
Elvis. Just kidding. What? Well, you're speaking, so that's all. That was a joke.
And no sales
bad
pitch
taste.
whatsoever.
Well, think about it. It's CE, continuing education. It's not a shopping trip. It is a shopping trip. We go to the vendors. We buy what we need. I bring my shopping list with me instead of calling them ahead of time so that they can get credit here for the sales they made because I've learned that's what's important.
That is what's important.
Y'all are not going to support a show that's not benefiting your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
works both ways.
I like to give that respect right back. You support us, we support you.
No, we appreciate that. It's organizations like this that give us a platform, or vendors a platform, to get out there. Yeah.
And I think y'all's platform is probably one of the best things that's happened to the industry in a long time.
Thanks.
Just giving people a voice.
That's what we try to do.
And he and I still get along fairly well. It's been 4 years, It's
Yes.
a long time. So I have a question about board. So is there a past president seat on your board, or are you done? So once you're president,
done,
you're
but
out.
my phone keeps ringing.
I know. So once you're president, then you time out.
Well,
or
yeah,
turn out.
Started out as secretary-treasurer.
Yep.
Worked into vice president. We actually froze the board for 2 years trying to when
a lot
COVID
of boards
started
did.
because we were working on things, trying to fix them, and how can you fix things when nothing's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now I've been president for a year, and it's been a great year. And
when does it end for you? At
May
this meeting?
1st.
Or? Oh,
We
interesting.
changed our fiscal year from December 1st to May 1st. Well, you have elections in January, so you can announce them at the show 1st of April.
And then they have a month to eat their Wheaties.
Yes. Now we're actually passing the ballot around. Last year we did it for the first time. The ballot got passed around at the show for elections instead of it being online.
Oh, okay.
There's
That's
a lot
cool.
of dental people that don't go to the web page
Yeah, sure.
and go, ooh, there's elections. Who's the choices?
True.
Yeah.
But if you catch them here in person, they're going to vote. And then they get a voice.
Is that why people are walking around trying to buy votes? Is that what I saw earlier?
Yeah, my pocket's getting a little full.
$5? Sure, I'll vote for you. I don't even live here, but right on.
So are you already
Awesome.
involved in next year's meeting? A year before, or you guys wait until this meeting's closed and then you start next year's?
We'll have a meeting tomorrow night to
all the good,
discuss
the bad.
how all this went.
Yep.
Next week, we'll send out questionnaires to everybody about what they liked, what they didn't like. That's vendors and attendees both.
Yeah.
And we'll have a meeting around the 1st of May, inducting the new officers and having a meeting starting off next year's conference building.
And then you're going to Hawaii.
Key West.
I'm out. Oh, that's my territory. Good
Key
for
West.
you. Well, thank you for all you've done. It's been an amazing meeting, and I know Elvis and I have enjoyed it.
Yeah, we appreciate the support that your board has always given the podcast, but just the industry in general. I mean, it's great.
Well, thank y'all. It's always a pleasure to listen to y'all.
Thanks.
Visit with you.
Thank you so much.
I know y'all stay super busy. I don't know how you find time to do this also.
4 a.m. this morning I was up. I'm like, I'm going to get there with a smile on my face because I really enjoy, and I know Elvis does, being out here and actually talking to somebody face-to-face. And you got all this energy and all this buzz, and it's a little bit addicting. I love it. So
I just want to see what good the title to Elvis' class does as far as attendance tomorrow. Are people
couple of studs at the bar.
Are people going to show up just to see what that's all about?
I hope so. That's the idea.
How did you come up with that?
It's stud attachments.
Well, I know that.
And stud attachments on bars.
Oh, you're just so
a couple of studs at the bar.
Now you wonder why the memes are so amazing. Right here. He's a smart mother blanker.
Trust me, if you come to my presentation and you don't laugh, then something's wrong with you. Because I don't do anything without turning it into a joke.
Oh, that's great.
You got to keep them happy.
Yep.
I hope so. Richard, again, we appreciate it. Great meeting.
Yes.
Looking forward to tonight.
Congratulations.
Your reception, right?
Yes.
Where you're honored? All right.
Yes.
Do what we can.
All right. Well, enjoy it.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
AJ Sheek from the American Business Incentive Services. What is that?
It is a national incentive tax provider. We use the same federal tax incentives and state tax incentives that the Amazons of the world use not to pay any taxes. We take that same concept and apply it retroactively to business owners, small and medium-sized, that we help educate as to the opportunity they have to recover some of the taxes they paid that they should not have paid if their CPA had used the R&D tax incentives.
Oh, so this is R&D taxes.
It's R&D taxes.
Okay, yep. I've heard about this a few times in our field. So you're able to go in and get labs to save money or get money back from taxes.
Get money back.
What's the most common way that people are finding some ways to save?
Well, we work in several vertical markets. My particular one is dentists and also in the construction area.
Okay.
All trades. I work primarily with roofers and HVAC companies.
Oh.
And then I've been associate member of the dental laboratory group here in Texas for the past 2 years.
So how did you find out about labs?
Well, there's a young lady who used to own a lab, helped me start a delivery company when I was unemployed for a short period of time. And that's how I got used to the dental labs. I was picking up dental prostheses and taking it to the dentist.
Wow.
And some of them were rather quick deliveries.
Yeah, sure.
And the young lady who got me started is actually here, not presenting, but I saw her walking around, so we had a good chat.
That's fantastic.
Nice. That was 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yes.
Yep.
Damn.
So you were a delivery driver.
Yep. Owned the company. And sometime after I started the company, my wife passed away, and I sold the company and went on to other things. But I've always had a fond memory of those days when I was running all over Dallas delivering dental prosthetics. So,
that's where I started, delivery.
So why taxes? Why'd you get into taxes?
My background is hospital administration.
Oh, okay.
And I'd worked in a lot of different fields since retiring from the Army. And I was in the Medicare health plan arena. Mm-hmm. As I say, helping older folks younger than I am to get the right decision made about their health care. And one of my colleagues told me about this company. So I went up to the dentist and interview with the business owner and really, really liked what he was telling me. And it got me working with businesses again, which was my preference over working with individuals. Since I'd owned some small companies, I've been working with business owners most of my life after retiring from the Army. So when he told me what he was doing, I was just sort of captured by the idea that I could actually help some companies.
Yeah.
And it would be an enjoyable relationship of trying to find ways to help small business recover money, especially in the economic times that we live in. It provide a little bit of cash influx that's tax-free because they've already paid taxes on that money. And it's like recovering money they didn't know they had. They get really excited when they get a check from the IRS.
So how do you go about doing that? I mean, how do you work with a company? What do they need to do? What do they need to give you to be able to find all of that information? And
well, we start off with a famous non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
So we keep everything on the table. And then we ask them to load up 5 years of taxes into a confidential Dropbox type configuration. And then we interview the business owner. We have a technical writer that does that, and then we pull together the information from the interview, match that up with the taxes, send it to our CPA firm that specializes in tax incentives, and they come up with an amended tax return projection. And then we sit down with the business owner, go over that. If the business owner likes it, then we engage with a engagement letter the contract with the business owner. If he doesn't like it, then we part ways at no fee to the business owner.
Oh.
If we find out the business owner does not qualify, there's also no fee. All the work we do up front is on us.
Yep.
But we want to make sure the business owner knows what he's going to be getting. So if the business owner likes what he sees, then we go forward and we take the information that we've provided the CPA. The CPA does an amended tax return, and then we present that to the business owner. At that time, money changes hands. They pay us 1/2 of our fee, and we work on a commission basis, 1/3 of the recovery. And when the check comes back from the IRS and the business owner is very statically happy, then we get the other half of our fee.
Nice. Well, just like you said, it's money they didn't know they had.
That's correct.
And so it's like Morgan & Morgan. They don't pay you until we win.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you do.
So how far back do you guys go?
We can go back 3 years based on the statute of limitations.
3 years.
Yeah. We asked for 5 years of taxes. That was because some of the expenses associated with the qualified research activities in the last 3 years can be carried forward, which increases the potential for recovery.
Nice. And then once someone does it and sees 3 years worth of gain, they probably do it the next year and the next year and the next year.
We have a 95% retention rate.
I bet.
So yes and yes and yes. They do.
I would think so. Free money every year? I'm in. Sign me up. So do you have a lot of dental labs right now that are clients? Or
no,
do you have
I do
a
not.
booth at this
I just joined the organization last year, and I came and just mingled last year. This time the decision was made a little bit late for me to be a vendor, but I've been here all day interacting with folks.
It's been great.
And I've met some very wonderful potential clients in here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a good service.
Yes.
There's a few of you in our industry doing it, and I think it's good.
Well, the difference is, though, when I did the R&D tax credit or tax credit, right?
I think, yeah.
We had to supply like papers and papers and papers and papers. It doesn't sound like that's what you have to do. You said that you just have to do your tax returns for 5 years, correct?
Yeah, we generate very little paperwork.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of what we do. We just ask them to take the file, which they already have, make a click on the computer and put it into the
drop it in,
Dropbox.
and that's it.
And that's all they have to do initially.
It's a hell of a lot easier than what we had to go through, I'll tell you, seriously.
And how can you tell that you can save someone money just by looking at their tax returns? Maybe that's too broad of a question. I don't know.
Well, it is in a way, but most of the time we can tell by knowledge of the industry that we work with and the type of things that the industry does and the type of research that they would be involved in, that generally speaking, all people in manufacturing would qualify, all people in technology, all people who do trades, because even the most minor thing of making a physical measurement, when you get right down to it, is research and development. It's called physical science.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you do something and it does not work, you take what you learned from that and apply it to something else to make it work better. So all that is research and development, is trial and error. So all that comes together to make different types of companies qualify. So it's pretty easy to tell if a company is going to qualify or not based upon the industry.
Interesting, yeah.
And then a few questions after that would verify it. So it's not difficult. The difficulty sometimes is getting the business owner to provide us all the information we need in a timely manner so that we can keep moving forward.
Yeah. How many labs do you work on and then find out that they don't qualify? Is it a small percentage or is it 50-50?
No, it's a very small percentage because bottom line on the qualification is $20,000 paid in federal taxes in the past 3 years combined. That's a very, very low threshold.
Yeah, you know darn well we're paying more than that.
So if they haven't paid that much, then we can't even talk to them.
Yeah.
If they paid more than that, then there's potential. They got to be profitable. Usually they've got to be in business for at least 3 years. We like to say our sweet spot is 5 to 50 million in revenue. That's gross revenue.
Yeah.
But we have been all the way down to 400,000 in revenue and all the way up to 210.
Wow.
And they are still able to get something back. Wow.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I think the most unusual one that the business owner told me when I first joined the company is that a donut shop in the Metroplex recovered $40,000.
Wow.
And I was blown away.
I'd be happy.
A donut shop?
A donut shop, yes.
What sort of research and development are they doing on donuts?
Recipes. She started her business. She developed all of her recipes from scratch. So there was a lot of work involved, a lot of items consumed, a lot of tasting done over a period of time, developing those recipes acceptable to her taste buds and how she wanted to present them to the clients.
That's amazing.
So, yes, $40,000 for donut shop. I just loved it.
That's cool.
How many ways can you fill a jelly?
That's what she said.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's interesting, AJ.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to get that side of our industry.
Yeah.
You know, it's important that lab owners realize that it's even possible.
There could be some money out there that you can
Yes,
recoup
there's a lot
that
of
you
money
didn't
out
know
there
that you
available.
had.
Yeah.
And there's businesses that'll actually help you get it.
Based upon the COVID and the CARES Act and another piece of legislation, the employee retention tax credit is another tremendous, what I would say, a windfall for employers to recoup money from the IRS. That's something that they can recover from 2020 and 2021. So that has the potential of up to $33,000 per employee if they qualify for 2020 and each quarter of 2021. So,
wow.
There's a lot of potential out there.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Well, we'll spread the word.
Yeah, appreciate it, sir.
Thank
my
you for
pleasure.
coming on.
Thanks for letting me join you.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right.
So let's talk about Wick Mix for a minute. There are 3D print resins for models that do a decent job, and then there is the Whip Mix VeriModel OS. Dr. Michael Scherer, a prosthodontist from Sonora, California, says, and I quote, Whip Mix VeriModel OS is one of the finest model resins that I have ever worked with. It's amazing. The popular resins offer the dental laboratory a high-quality, smooth surface finish, extreme precision, reliable accuracy, and fine detail. They can be used in the 385 and 405 nanometer printers, and they are compatible with the silicone-based separators. VeriModel OS print resins are available in ivory, golden brown, gray, and white colors for any model application.
For more information, call 1-800-626-5651 or visit whipmix.com.
Super big thanks to Wade, Richard, and AJ for sitting down with us at the DLAT meeting. I'll tell you what, it was really good to be back at a live show, and the DLAT did a great job welcoming everybody back, and even though they never really stopped. So I love talking to young, enthusiastic people in our industry and expect big things out of Wade in the future. And a big thanks to Richard for your service on the board and especially taking over the president position. That's a big job. And I know that it's very rewarding to make a difference, but it's also very hard. We appreciate you as well. And for all the lab managers and owners out there, give AJ a call and see if you can save on some money and your taxes. Who doesn't want free money? Thanks, everybody.
We appreciate it and already looking forward to getting back to that meeting.
Yepper. I keep saying yepper today. I'm a dork. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a personal problem.
No help from me.
Yepper.
There's never a phrase I say over and over. Never.
Have a good week, everybody.
All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Yepper. 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 Yepper.